Man, we had so many good times. I was kinda hoping we could have some more. But, wait, what? Oh, I see. Saw a girl from a long time ago. Oh, wanted love, but she let me know. No, now my heart's broke. Now my heart's broke. Well, hey, you may not like me that way, but we can still be friends, right? Right? Wait, no, where are you going? Come back! Inside is a hive of activity, seemingly every student in class talking at once as they work hurriedly on their separate tasks. I like the look of their room better. Going by the paint cans, decorations, and banners being made, it must be for the upcoming school festival. I guess my first priority should be finding Lily. There. Finding her among the den is surprisingly easy, not the least because of her looks. With a couple of students gathered around her as she stands at the front of the class, she seems to be in charge of the preparations, or at least busy organizing them. Carefully negotiating a path through the various students hunched over the floor for lack of desk space, I raise a hand entirely out of habit as we finally reach Lily. Hi, Lily. She perks her head up as she breaks off talking to a noticeably smaller girl who must be her classmate, trying to listen as best she can. Sorry, who? Ah, sorry, Hisao, I have Hanako too. Hi. She's pretty skittish. Considering the number of people around, it isn't too hard to work out why. Lily takes a moment pause to assess the situation before turning to the other student once again. For the moment, just ask Moria for his advice. Kenji's busy with painting one of the banners already. A quick nod and she bounces off, fingers carefully sliding along the walls for orientation. Wait, Kenji? Anata wa Kenji? I quickly turn about, leaning to the side to see past Hanako. Sure enough, in the corner of the room, Kenji's hunched over a sheet of cloth as he paints it. His eyes remain only inches from the brush, reminding me of how close he had to be to make out my face when I met him. Sorry about that, our class doesn't have many students with even partial eyesight, so they're in high demand. That's right, Class 3-2 is especially for students with poor vision. Preparing for the festival must be pretty arduous for them. Need a hand? I could give you help if you need some. Maybe Hanako could too. A chance to set her mind on something would do her good, but I doubt she has the courage to act outright. She quickly nods in affirmation afterwards, so I'm confident I made the right move. Lily gives a noticeable sigh of relief. Ah, that's good. This might actually get finished before everyone goes out to dinner now. Would you be able to help the person painting the main banner? It's a big task for them to do, but nobody else can help. Oh guys, we gotta help Kenji. I don't have time for this. I gotta cap this off soon. He's gonna be so long. She seems surprised that I know him. I can't really blame her. I take it you've met. Our rooms in the dorm are right next to each other. Hard to miss each other, really. Well, it's good to see you're getting friends so fast. Friend. I wonder if that's the right word to use for him. Hanako's silence during the proceedings reminds me of the reason I put her up to helping in the first place. We'll go help him then. He knows what needs doing, right? That's right. Just ask if you have any problems. That could be problematic, because Kenji might say something wrong to Hanako, and then I have to, put some hands to him. Not that I'm a violent person. I'm not a violent person. I'm very calm. You can hear how calmly I'm speaking to the mic right now, yeah. Chorusing in the sand, Hanako and I begin another trek across the classroom. Kenji sits crunched on the floor, his gaze fixed on the white calico in front of him. Hey, Kenji. No answer. He continues dragging his paint silk brush along the large half-painted kanji that's sketched on the sheet and pencil. Kenji? Huh? What? Who is it? If this is the way he treats class members, it's no small wonder he's working on this alone. It's me, it's Al from the... Right, I know that man. What are you doing here, though? His dismissive attitude annoys me. He must be the type to get really focused on his work, hating to be disturbed by anyone until he's done, I suppose. While we talk, the sound of Hanako's footsteps as she walks out from behind me reminds me that she's here. I was just going to help with the banner, Hanako and I, that is. Hello. Oh, hey, I guess that's okay. As soon as Hanako enters the equation, his demeanor takes a complete about-face. His sudden fox hospitality is slightly unsettling. Alright, women. On second thought, this might not have been a great idea after all. Hanako and I grudgingly set ourselves down on the opposite side of the cloth banner to Kenji, noting the several small paint tins on the ground around it. Class 3-2. Noodle stall? You guys selling noodles at the festival on Sunday? Yeah, some stalls outside or something. Or something. His non-committal nature sparked a fair amount of suspicion on my behalf. The task at hand comes first, though. So how did you want to split this? We do borders while you do the text? Or do you want to switch and do the borders? Text is mine. You do borders. He has surprisingly strong feelings on this topic. As I reach over to grab a brush, I notice Hanako's already debating between colors to use. Her eyes. By the time I've put brush to cloth, she's already started on a delicate pattern. Looks like my idea of taking her mind off everyone around her worked. With a dark blue stroke, the three of us silently get to work. Not before Kenji takes advantage of Hanako's working to lean towards me and whisper conspiratorially, though. Okay, man. Hey, man, why are you here? Hanako just wanted some help to find Lily, that's all. He apparently disapproves of my motivations. I get it. It looks like I misjudged you. You're infiltrating them then. I can't speak English. And all he's gonna do is speak this bullcrap. You're infiltrating them, aren't you? Going deep undercover. I should have guessed. Letting the truth slip by him would probably be better than outright lying or annoying him in any case. Is that why you're here? Obviously, it sucks, but there's no better way to get intel than going in yourself. We gotta stick together, man. This is a harsh school. A harsh world. Yes, very harsh. He misses my true meaning as he leans back, satisfied I'm sympathetic to his cause. I better get down to work. Finished. She didn't... Looks like I am too. Good job. The two of us connect up the lines of our patterns, mine being as close a copy as I could manage of hers. With a grunt, I lever myself up from the floor and look around. Aside from Hanako and myself, there's only Kenji left finishing off his sign, as well as Lily and a couple of students talking among themselves in the classroom. Looking at my watch, it's no surprise. It's getting pretty late. Need a hand? I offer a hand to Hanako, which she uses to get herself up. As she does, I can't help but glance at her wrist. If her scars extend even to there, just how much of her body was burned. I feel a pang of guilt about it, however, she quickly covers her wrist with her other hand. Looks good, doesn't it? She looks surprised for a moment before noticing that I mean the banner. It does, I guess. Her smile shows that she feels a slight sense of pride in the result, just as I do. With the floor significantly needed for the decorations being placed on desks and shelves, it's much easier to get to Lily as we cross the room. We finished the banner. I guess that's all that needs to be done. Lily gives an appreciative nod. Thank you, Asao. Hanako, if there's any way I can thank you. It's fine. Beats sitting in my room studying at any rate. I don't mind either. She nods before suddenly remembering one last person. Kenji. Oh, is Kenji still here? Just as I open my mouth, Kenji gives the answer from the other side of the room. Yeah, just finished. He carefully slides his sign into an empty section of self to dry before quickly walking past us and out the door. See you, man. Bye. Yeah, Kenji's a dude, bro. Come on, Hisao. He's goofy, but he's the dude, bro. That's just how it is. He's the dudicus brodicus. The remaining two students say their goodbyes to Lily before taking their cue to leave as well, leaving only the three of us. Well, I guess that's everyone. I hope we don't have to do anything like that again. Working past school time? Indeed, the classes planned this year were ambitious, maybe too ambitious. The stalls look nice though. That smile. Well, what's that anime meme? The smile I want to protect. She's right, it shows that a lot of work's gone into them. My, I'm sure a lot of us would be glad to hear that. At least now there's not too much work to do until the festival itself. It's getting pretty late. Should we go? That's probably a good idea. Are you going back to the dorms as well, Hisao? Yeah, I guess I'll tag along. The nighttime lighting really makes the gardens look quite different. Compared to the usual look of lush greenery, things are much more calmer. Much more calm. Much more calmer. First of all, it's already more. Second, it's calm. Much more calm. Being that it's so late, the lack of students around probably helps. The odd one or two can be seen scurrying to and from the dorms trying to eke the most out of their approaching curfews, but no more. All that can be heard is our footsteps, in addition to Lily's cane regularly gently tapping the ground in front of her. It's nice to finally be able to relax a bit after the mad rush during school. Without even noticing, I let out a small yawn. Tired? Yeah, still getting used to the flow of things, I guess. The thing with Shizune took me kind of off guard, though. I grit my teeth a little at the candid mention of their rather public spat. That said, I did want to sort out what in the world was behind it. About that. I'm sorry about it being so public. Shizune and I go back some ways. Her voice seems slightly irritated as she remembers Shizune, obviously unwilling to discuss it any further. I glanced at Hanako for her views on this, but her expression is unsurprisingly evasive and difficult to read. Either way, I guess her apologizing for it is something even if my curiosity goes unanswered. I'll be glad once the festival is over in any case. The change of topics welcome, clearing the thickening air quickly. I can imagine my old school's festivals were a lot more low-key than this. Yamaku stresses the idea of a school community, so the staff likes to make our festivals and such special occasions. And yet the students are the ones who do the work. What an unfair world. Hanako and Lily both chuckle in agreement, savoring the fact that none of the staff are around to hear our grumbling. I suppose coming from a strict all-girls school helped me a bit with Yamaku. Compared to there, Yamaku is much more relaxed. That'd go away towards explaining her well-bred speech and behavior in any case. As we come up to the dormitories, it eventually comes time to leave for our respective rooms. See you, Lily, Hanako. The two both give polite nods before setting off to the women's dorm just next to the guys. As is to be expected of such an arrangement, there's a staff member casually patrolling around outside to prevent any nighttime shenanigans. I wonder what they're talking about. I mean, what would guys and girls do together at night? What? Walking past him, I quickly stretched my arms and rubbed my neck, both quite sore after having worked on the floor for so long, before walking to my room. It feels good to actually have direction, though. After so long in the hospital, everyday facts of studying, homework, and teachers seem almost a blessing. I guess if things continue like this, my time at Yamaku might turn out okay. Adhering to the nurse's nagging voice in the back of my head, I set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. I made a promise and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy is bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. Should I end it right here? What's the time? I'm kinda hungry. My morning alarm goes off, and I flew about uselessly for a while until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep going. This is about my health, after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me, but that hasn't made my existence so intolerable that I'm not going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emma has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the heck did she come down here anyway? Oh, it's you. I'm surprised to see you again. Why is that? Well, not many people actually managed to come back for a second try. She frowned, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought. Like the rest of the track team, for instance. What? Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug, and it suddenly appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So, come on then. What? You're here to run again, right? I'm here to talk to you, pretty lady. So come on. I found myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling, while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find it inviolable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient, keeping pace with me, and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Oh man, go for it. Like a man. What am I doing here? Am I really just gonna fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. The second lap's done quickly, and without even considering it, I keep going. Emmy looks back over his shoulder at me and grins. Still going? Wouldn't I want you to think I'm out of Amy laughs without breaking a stride no less and speeds up even more. Well, if this is the way we're going to play things, I increase my own pace as well. I can feel my lungs burning and my legs are starting to question just what the heck I think I'm doing. Lactic acid screams in my muscles, but I close my ears. I can't let myself fall behind because that would be a loss. The rational voice in my head inquires mildly just when we start playing a game. I'd rather answer it, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast. How the heck does she keep it? It's like a string pulling at my chest, a choking feeling of narrowness and pain. Before I can think of anything else, then oh crap! The track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down the clutch in my chest, the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Amy whirls around and her eyes widen. Hassao! She yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track. What's wrong? Nothing, just keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic. Do you need me to get the nurse? I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon it's gone like nothing happened. It was nothing? No, something happened there. I open my eyes again and glance at a very worried Emmy. That's not a worried face. That's like a... I'm about to giggle. I think I'm fine. My voice sounds weird even to myself. Oddly even, and matter of fact, it makes Emmy frown. I don't think you are. She seems to come to this decision and nods to herself. Right, you're coming with me. You've got to see the nurse. Emmy grabs my arm and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse to shoulder Emmy offers for support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed by my own weakness. I'd rather not have Emmy concerned about me, but it seems to be too late. Heck, I'd really rather not have anyone concerned about my condition, though at this point it seems to be too late for that as well. I like to be able to deal with the whole thing on my own, without being a bother to anyone else. While I'm wishing for things, I'd rather not have this condition in the first place. Nurse! Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but it doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, Sunshine. What's up? Sunshine? Anyway, he calmly sips from his coffee mug but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to me looming in the doorway. Hassao, what brings you here? We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing at his chest, and I thought I'd come get you and make him wait. Oh, yeah, let me read that. Easy there, Emmy. Calm down. Hassao, what happened? I don't know. We were running and then my chest started hurting like that time before, but it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron. I didn't mean quite this when I suggested to get some exercise. You gotta be more careful, Hassao. I was being careful, come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member of the track team. Doesn't seem as well reasoned as I thought it would. You just what? That is... I was racing Emmy. Emmy, is this true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably contrite. Well... Finally, she can't seem to bring herself to say it aloud and merely nods. The nurse sighs and rubs at his forehead with one eye entirely. Amy, you gotta be more sensitive to the limits of others. I don't know if he told you, but Hassao has a bad heart, and getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. Actually, I started it. The nurse is stunned by my statement. You... Not me? You were just running and, Amy started to pull away, and so I, sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the stilling mutters a prayer for patience to some god or another and looks back down at the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Now come on, Hassao. I've got to make sure your heart's not going to explode or something. I dutifully obey and fall into the adjacent room where we are certain that I am, in fact, not going to keel over and die. So how does it feel? I don't know, nothing much. Tired, but it might be just from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest. We'll see how you feel after that. I am not going to object, so I lie down on the infirmary bed. A thoroughly miserable Emmy comes in after getting earphones from the nurse in the other room. I can hear what he said through the closed door, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasantries. Look, I'm really sorry. I should have been more careful. Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry, and my reassurances don't do anything much to cheer up. I want to make it up to you, again with that decisive nod. So you have to come to lunch with me. I'll bring it for you, okay? Something really good. Or start with it, you don't have to, Ben. Shut up and just nod at her when I see her face. Good. We meet on the roof. We? Yep, the weather's nice, so the roof's a great spot for lunch, you know. I see. You'll come, right? You won't deny me the chance to make it up to you. Of course not. Great, see you there. About to have a harem! I've always wanted my own harem. I stay afloat somewhere between asleep and awake, feeling completely drained. Not only my body, but all of me is limp and paralyzed apart from my senses. I swallow with difficulty and then try to lie as still as I can, which in this state is not a very hard thing to do. The nurse is shuffling around on the other side of the curtains he drew to give me privacy. I can see his shadow shifting about in the sunlight. He has opened the window of his office. It's windy outside. The clean white curtains fluttered in the breeze in a heavy, lazy motion like waves. Light sifts through them slowly, half absorbing into the fabric. I close my eyes. The breeze on my face feels like the soft fabric of the curtains. I listen to the sound of my heartbeat for a moment, trying to shut out the sound of the nurse tapping away on his computer and my own heavy breathing. It's steady. Darn it, not even a week and I end up like this again. I really screwed up this time. Should have known better than to play the half-baked sports star in front of a real one. And why did I try to act brave like that heart flow was no big deal, even when it was obvious that it was? It was just a reflex to push it away, to keep it inside. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want Amy to see. Ah! Stupid, stupid, stupid. I had to be more careful or I will end up in the hospital again or worse. That's my final thought before I give in to tiredness. I fell asleep for how long? What time is it? I'm feeling a little lightheaded and I keep blinking compulsively. Pushing the curtain aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture of the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. The nurse looks up from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. How are you feeling? I can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. I'm feeling kind of groggy from falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully I don't look too weird. What time is it? Me croaking the question to gain some orientation. The nurse looking at his wristwatch before answering. Things seem to happen in slow motion. 10:15. I try to think for a moment what that means, but I'm not really sure. You didn't answer my question then, Sal. Oh, fine. Climb down from that bed then, and let's see how you're doing. Don't. I try to do exactly that, only to sway dizzily when I move too fast. The nurse moves to support me by my arms and sides. Stand up too quickly is what I was going to say. Just sit there. I check your pressure to make sure. My good intentions sure lasted for a long time. I shut up embarrassed with myself, while the nurse gets busy with the old-fashioned contraption in my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away, looking neither pleased nor unhappy. You're alright. Head stop spinning? Yeah. Good. And how are the contents doing? You didn't show very good judgment out there, Sal. I swallowed the retort I was going to make. It's what I was thinking myself, but hearing it stated by somebody else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. It doesn't make him any less right. No, sir. You know, I'm still looking as neutral as he was before. It would be easy to be angry at him if he said, told you so or something, but he doesn't. I can try to help you to keep your health, but ultimately the last call lies with you. Hopefully this little episode will be something that will remind you of that. I am talking all over myself. Here's a note from your teacher to avoid an interrogation. I take the slip of paper he's offering and then make my leave, as I can't think of anything else to say, nor even really want to. Stay out of trouble, you hear me? I don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time could be different. I hear you. There's some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not too keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I get from the exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the auxiliary building, deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff and going straight away to the class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorm. The halls are quiet as the courtyard was, naturally so, since everyone is in class. I knock lightly at the door at 3-3 and push open the door when Muto calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Good morning, Nakai. Muto seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as if I interrupted his floor or something. Judging from the rambling lectures his class tend to be, that might be the case. I pass him the note the nurse gave me. Muto takes it and nods and reads it quickly. He lifts his eyebrows and gives me a kind of stern look, but doesn't say anything, just nods solemnly again. I shrug and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. Hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food. Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant was more the reminder of his sentence buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Winto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and stands up. Sits down. Wait. What did I just read? It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be headed down for the cafeteria. Normally I'd jaw the flow and grab a lunch myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited to lunch on the roof. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually the torrent subsides and I step tentatively out in the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball. Hey Hisao! Hey, hi Hisao, great timing. I have super extra lunch today as promised. Let's go upstairs. The stairway to the roof is a little D word. There's a D word there. But it's clearly been used recently. And at the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlocks. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Amy shoved the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Amy flinches back, almost falling down the stairs. Eek! Hello. Yipes, you scared me, Ren. Wait, isn't she? Hello. Noticing that Ren is speaking to me, Amy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Amy. She's that friend of yours? Ren has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food, or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. Ren she's horrible. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered across the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly, and I haven't had time to think how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Ren in tow and produces 1 big and 2 small lunchboxes from her bag. Come on, Sal, what are you waiting for? She is beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I seat myself in the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Amy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Ren, and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch is promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks, I'll make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Ren deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I am in right now. Will I ever get used to the sight such as this? I can't decide if I'm getting used to it used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great because when I burn through lunch pretty quickly, it helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I barely nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think the answer is my question. Never mind. So I struggled to think of small talk and settled on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rem seemed content to let Emmy answer this question. Somehow in the housing department thought they would compliment each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Compliment each other? Like shoes in a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we've got all our limbs. Get it? So I started helping Ren get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rem chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Ren is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms. So putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just going to stop talking now. Yeah, shut up, dude. It'll send me a lot of trouble in the long run. Ren nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Ren speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Ren that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Ren dexterously stabs a straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I am once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Ren are the sort of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities, Ren especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's the conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Asal, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here, and for the lunch too. Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended, trying to take advantage of my good nature. The nerd. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Ren and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. I am suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rendering puppy eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding! I was just kidding! I love to eat lunch up here again. Good location and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I have accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now, or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, suddenly I return downstairs. Ren, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're gonna fade away. Ren shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I borrowed into the return slot in the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Ah, sorry Yuko, didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine, it happens a lot, I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? Yes, you can, but on the next episode of Heartbreak, cause oh my gosh, my throat is hurting. Thank you guys for staying with me, and see you next episode. Now my heart's broke. Now my heart's broke.